Okay, so this is the second reading of the Redemption Manual 4.5 edition. So the last time we got up to page 25. So now we're going to start reading page 26. I just got to figure out how to scroll this up. Okay, there we go. So here we go. The actual reclaiming of your sovereignty. The remedy in today's bankrupt commercial world is a process including a UCC-1 form, that's a Universal Commercial Code, form to the Secretary of State. Oh, okay, to the Secretary of State. And, oh, and a chargeback invoice. We better start writing notes here, folks. So maybe you're going to want to get your, let's do this. Get a notebook, some paper, and start doing your notes, because these are some things that we need to do. So let's start from the beginning. The actual reclaiming of your sovereignty. You want that, right? You want your sovereignty. You don't want to be a slave. You don't want to be told what to do, right? You want your sovereignty. So the remedy in today's bankrupt commercial world is a process including a UCC-1 form, to the Secretary of State, SOS, and a chargeback invoice. I like that. Invoice with bill of exchange, write that down, bill of exchange, BOE, to the Secretary of the Treasury. That one goes to the Secretary of the Treasury, okay, US, United States, wherein you can take commercial control of your straw man with a TIN number, tax identification number, and charge up your UCC contract trust account. Charge up? That's interesting. What does that mean? Charge up your UCC contract trust account so that you can discharge the debts of your debtor. Huh. That's interesting. Okay. I don't know how you charge it up. Charge it. Charge up your UCC contract trust account. Okay, so I'm assuming that that's the one that we have the EIN number for. I'm going to assume that one. Americans have intimate firsthand knowledge of the heartless mechanics of the laws of commerce. That's for sure, huh? I think I dropped these glasses, seeing something through them. I want to be able to see clearly. The laws of commerce, religiously applied by the example of the unregistered foreign agents of the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS, accounting firm. And collection agency for the private Federal Reserve Bank, was constituted under the UCC at its inception in 1954. So that was before I was born, and has been operating strictly in that realm ever since. So let me just go over this little sentence here. The IRS accounting firm and collection agency for the private Federal Reserve Bank was constituted under the UCC. Oh, that's commercial. At its inception in 1954, and has been operating strictly in that realm ever since. Oh, so they did capture us on a universal commercial code contract stuff before we were born. Okay. And as a side note, how was the Wicked Witch destroyed? This is going back to that Wizard of Oz. By accident? A bucket of water? The true substance of all things good and healthy, simple water, H2O, destroyed the evil, just like the O in ozone destroys virus and bacteria, cancer. But did the oxygen in the water destroy the evil witch? I don't know. It was just a movie. What are you talking about? You may have wondered what the meaning is behind the words in the title, The Wizard of Oz. Look them up in a dictionary. Like almost everything else, it's right out there in the open for you to see if you will just look closely enough. One definition of wizard is a very clever or skillful person. I think I've known those types of people. Yeah. Oz is an abbreviation of onza, the Italian word for ounce. Oh, yeah, I could see that. Ounce, like ounces. The unit of measurement of gold, silver, and other precious metals. No matter how large the quantity of gold or silver being discussed, the amount is always expressed in ounces rather than hundreds of tons of gold. It's so many million ounces of gold, as attested by the factual history of this country, the Wizard of Ounces. Oh, interesting. Was the Wizard of Ounces. That's pretty amazing. Wow. And who took the gold that backed the America's money? Why, the bankers and the lawyers. Oh my gosh, they're so evil. Working for the foreign principals. The private Federal Reserve, constituting the 20 Class A stockholders, being mostly private bankers. Whoa. Wow, wow. All orchestrated in Greece by politicians, then and still today. Whoa. Wow. Only because it is not the mindset of politicians today to correct the matter and put full and absolute power over the control, creation, minting, and putting into circulation of the United States money backed by gold, substance, and value. What everyone has to understand is that as things are today, the commercial system as in place is better for everyone, just as long as everyone understands the program. Maybe the Wizard of Ounces back then was the introduction to the program as to the monetary condition and changes in American. It just appears that no one told or gave full disclosure to the American people, not only of the change, but how to operate in this new commercial world where all the real value was removed and all that was put in its place was commercial paper. Wow, yeah, I can see that. That's wild. Everything worked out for Dorothy, example, the American people. In the end, she made it home, meaning there is remedy in law. It's there. It was just encoded and disguised and camouflaged. Fortunately, the code has been cracked and there is a way home. Just like in the movie, like Dorothy said, there's no place like home, and there isn't. There's nothing like sovereignty for a sovereign people. We have commercial remedy in the redemption process. Will you continue to be conned by the confidence man and believe the wizard's words coming out from that box of smoke and mirrors called the TV? Or will you wise up like Dorothy did and look behind the scenes? Actually, it was kind of her dog that exposed it. And she just said, oh, Toto. And she kind of fell into that. To recognize the scheme. Will you rise above the occasion and obtain the knowledge to become a secured party creditor, private banker, and sovereign, to take your place among others who are above the government Instead of being that debtor slave on the plantation, living your life in debt and servitude, it's your choice. Dorothy did it a long time ago to show the American people and maybe the children the way how to do it and that it can be done. Now go rent or buy the movie and see it again for the first time with your eyes wide open. That's like getting on an airplane and seeing that Earth is flat. For all intents and purposes, there are only debtors or creditors in America. No law, only the law of contracts and agreements and commercial paper. Whoa. Follow the Yellow Brick Road, follow the Yellow Brick Road, follow the money trail. Yikes. That's true. The Americans Bulletin, May, June 1999. Matrix, the first movie review by Jack Smith from Zion Group, Right Way Law, Jack Smith. 2, all persons still lodged in the Matrix. Subject, emergency. The time is now to extract yourself from the Matrix. Your Savior has come for you. Care must be taken when describing and decoding the information for the uninformed, that is coming from within the Matrix by way of the communication. The uninformed cannot be told about the Matrix. They must experience it. The communication rightly explains to them that the Matrix is the world pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. It makes you a slave, a prison for your mind. If you attempt to expose the uninformed to too much light, you will blind them. The communication is the story of the gospel of the scripture, but is set within the framework of a Greek science fiction drama. The leading character is named Neo. He is played by Keanu Reeves. The word Neo in Greek means new. Wow. Neo is the new man, or the new Adam, come to save the people of Zion. But first, he must die and be resurrected by the Trinity. Isn't there a girl named Trinity in that movie? There is. Oh my gosh. Once resurrected, he will save the world by taking people out of the Matrix and into the land of Zion. Oh. The problem is that in the beginning, Neo does not know who he is or where he is. He first must be brought out of the land of the Matrix and learn who he is. He is extracted by a team of Zionists led by their leader, Morpheus, who is played by Lawrence Fishburne. The woman Trinity, played by Carrie-Anne Moss, is one of the principal persons from the Zion group that communicates with people in the Matrix. Together, Morpheus represents God the Father. Trinity represents God the Holy Spirit. Oh, that's interesting. Who breathes life back into Neo and brings the message to the Matrix. The Neo represents, Neo represents God the Son. Huh, interesting. Their team of helpers is called the People of Zion. They consult the Oracle, which represents the Holy Scripture. The Oracle does not judge good from evil, does it? That's weird. But is a guide to show the path upon which the people of Zion must go. The people of Zion use a vessel named the Nebuchadnezzar. Whoa, can't believe that. As a means of travel within the Matrix. That was like a king, Nebuchadnezzar. Allied against the Zionists is the Matrix. The Matrix is the world which has deceived all the people therein to fall into a dreamlike sleep. In this condition, the people are warehoused in large storage facilities. The people are physically hooked up to the cells in this warehouse by tubes that both feed them and extract electrical and heat energy from them to run the machines of the world who have taken over control. The tubes also feed the people in the matrix. Computer-generated thoughts programmed into the matrix computers. Therefore, life in the matrix is nothing more than an incredibly complex computer program created by the matrix to conceal the real intent of raising and harvesting human beings to provide electrical energy to run the machines which control the matrix. These electronic thoughts fed to the people in the matrix create a substitute for real thinking and real thoughts and real experience. Instead, the people in the matrix only believe that they are alive and experiencing their lives. Their bodies never physically leave the cells in which they are kept. But to their minds, they appear to be living a normal existence with a job, personal relationships, hobbies, and the like. In the matrix, everyone is united as an AI, artificial intelligence. Your world is a computer program that appears real to you. There is a group that works for the matrix called the agents. These agents are not real people, but sentient computer programs which give the agents supernatural powers. Their job is to locate and destroy people who have either physically disconnected from the matrix or who are within the matrix but are receiving unauthorized communications from people outside the matrix. The name of the leading agent is Smith, who represents Satan, a totally evil entity out to destroy any living being who would attempt to physically leave the matrix. All communications with people within the matrix are done through the matrix computers. The communication can be made by way of a phone connection or modem connection to the matrix computer, which in turn communicates with the person in the matrix over the direct computer link to the person's mind. Once a person is physically removed from the matrix, that person never again physically goes into the matrix, but is mentally projected into the matrix computer. Before Neo comes out of the matrix and learns who he is, Neo is captured by the agents and taken to an interrogation. Agent Smith says, "Okay, Mr. Anderson, I see a man sitting before me who has two lives, one in the law form of the matrix and one in the law form of Zion. Your first life is as a man named Thomas A. Anderson. In this life, you have a social security number. You pay your taxes. You work as a computer programmer for a software development company. Your second life is as a man named Neo. Neo has committed almost every computer crime in the book in our law form. Only one of these lives has a future. Which life is that going to be? The leader of the resistance movement is named Morpheus. This, like Neo, is also a Greek name. You might not be familiar with this name. I wasn't. The name means he who forms or molds. Morpheus was the Greek god of dreams. The Encyclopedia Mythica says he lies on an ebony bed in a dim light cave. He appears to humans in their dreams in the shape of man. He is responsible for shaping dreams, or giving shape to the beings which inhabit dreams. Morpheus is mentioned as the son of Hypnos, the god of sleep. Morpheus is the man who, with the help of others, extracts Neo from the matrix and leads him to resolve who he is and how Neo can save the people from the matrix. The name Morpheus is also a computer name by Piranha Interactive Publishing Incorporation. Imagine a world where you died, but your dreams lived on. The adventure begins with you as an explorer separated from your party aboard the ship Herculania. In the movie, the ship's name is the Nebuchadnezzar. You are looking to resolve the legacy of your father, who has disappeared in the region 30 years earlier. You become despondent, certain of your impending death, drifting between strange and foreboding dreams. This game could well be a semi-outline for the movie Matrix. What led Neo to question his life in the Matrix? At one time, Morpheus asked him, "You don't like the idea of not being in control of your own life, do you?" And Neo answers in the affirmative. Neo's name is an anagram for the One. Really? It's out of order. Neo, One. N-E-O is not O-N-E, whatever. For the Savior. In a discussion with the Agent Smith, Neo was told, once we started thinking for you, the Matrix, became our world, not your world. Interesting. That's interesting. Once we started thinking for you, the TV became our world, not yours. Neo asked, what would happen if you die in the Matrix? The answer is that you also die in the real world. Since the body cannot live without the mind, Neo also asks, what would happen if one tries to take on the agents in the Matrix? The answer is they are all powerful in the Matrix. You cannot take them on in this, meaning the artificial world, they created without rules place. The only way to prevail is to run from them and get out of the Matrix. That is because there are no rules or law in the Matrix. The rules and the law in the Matrix are whatever the Matrix computer programs say that they are. The law is a fiction. The Matrix is run on a public policy of containment of the living beings in the Matrix. Nothing more and nothing less. Ooh. It's wild. There are many symbols in the communication. Neo, when mentally extracted from the Matrix, is given the opportunity by the people of Zion to decide whether or not he wants to be physically extracted also. He is warned that after being physically extracted, it will be very difficult to return to the Matrix if he changes his mind. Neo is offered a blue pill to take if he wants to mentally go back into the Matrix and be mentally sedated, never again to question the Matrix. He's offered a red pill if he wants to physically come out. The red pill is symbolic of the blood of Christ sacrificed to set man free from the things of this world. Oh, that's cool. The pills are also symbolic of the story of Alice in Wonderland and the song sung by Grace Slick. One pill makes you larger and one pill makes you small. Oh. One pill makes you larger and one pill makes you small. Gracie Slick, I guess. Neo first meets the Zionists. It's kind of interesting that they call it Zionists. At a meeting spot called the Adam Street Bridge, This is symbolically where Thomas A. Anderson, the first Adam in sin, crosses over into the hands of the Zionists to become the makings of the second Adam. Thomas A. Anderson, when he was still within the Matrix, was wakened by his alarm clock, which read 9:18 a.m. The number 9 stands for the fruits of the Spirit, or the coming of blessing or judgment, while 18 represents bondage, the condition Thomas A. Anderson was in. Thomas A. Anderson lives in room number 101 in a hotel named the Heart of the City during his existence in the Matrix. The heart is the metaphor for the physical life of the person or entity. It represents that Thomas A. Anderson was destined to be that life, which is to come out of the matrix and give life to the people in the matrix. Room number 101 deals with the numbers 10, fullness of law, and responsibility in teaching, and 1 equals unity, primacy. Thomas A. Anderson is the one that will apply the natural law to defeat the law of the matrix. Trinity carries on her activities within the matrix out of room 303. Room number 303 deals with the numbers 30, blood of Christ, and 3, division, perfection, and completeness. Neo's physical removal from the matrix is a birthing cycle in which the cord was cut, the birthing fluids were present, and the escape afterwards from the pod where the birthing took place was through a pool of water, a baptism into a new life. Interesting. There are several other washings or baptisms represented by the waters falling at the Adam Street Bridge, etc. Look up the term matrix in Black's 4th Law Dictionary. You may be amazed. It means in civil law, the protocol or first draft of a legal instrument from which all copies must be taken. Does this refer to the fact that all copies or all people within the matrix must follow the prime directive of the matrix to work and slave for the matrix? The definition of matrix ecclesia in Latin is a mother church. Whoa. Oh my gosh. This term was anciently applied to a cathedral in relation to the other churches in the same see, or to a parochial church in relation to the chapels or minor churches attached to it or depending on it. The communication is trying to tell you that the matrix, or the world, is a mother church preaching a religion based upon an illusion and false sense of being. Did you ever get the impression that life as we know it is backwards? That what we perceive as reality is the illusion, and what we perceive as illusion is the reality? In the communication, you get the picture from both sides of the mirror, where the matrix is on the illusion side of the mirror, and Zion is on the real side of the mirror. The end of the communication is nothing short of jubilant and heroic. I can't say that word. Neo makes a phone call to the people of the matrix. He's feeding a direct communication into their mind by way of the computer hookup. Neo tells them there are no rules. You can do anything that you want to. The law is done away within their law forum. Their constitution is dead, as long as you do not harm the life, liberty, or property of another. Neo invites them to join the Zionists. As proof that there is no law in their law form, Neo flies away into the sky as a Superman. After all, if there is no law, there is no gravity in their law form. Gravity is a theory. There is none gravity. There's density and buoyancy. Earth is flat. May the force of Zion be your calling. It's time to come out of the dark. Note, it was suggested that the second and third Matrix movie reviews be reduced to only those points deemed important in relation to the first movie review, and therefore redemption, to better further your understanding and save a few pages. The message within the second and third movie review is far too important for your understanding to be removed and must be read several times for you to understand the concepts as applied to your commercial redemption, so you too can see the matrix around you, and also for you to make the choice to live in Zion, Freedomville, so to speak, as a secured party creditor versus the government, municipal, corporation plantations. Okay, the Americas Bulletin, July, August 2003, Matrix Reloaded, the second movie. A movie review by Jack Smith. Think of a movie as though it were a parable. A parable is a story which parallels real life issues. but it is told in such a manner that the average person will not understand the meaning of the story as it relates to real life. The story or parable itself discusses facts and answers the who, what, where, and when questions. The true meaning of the parable is in the answer to the why question that most people do not ask or answer. This article is addressed to the why people. If you are one of the what people, take the blue pill and go back into your position in the matrix. Are you still in the matrix, or are you one of the people of Zion? If you answered that question by determining that you are out of the matrix and you are one of the people of Zion, then you still might have a serious problem in understanding what your relationship is to the controllers of the matrix. You are not as independent as you might think. This is the true value of the message being given in the movie Matrix 2. The movie The Matrix 2 introduces us to a much higher concept of liberty and responsibility, and especially the concept of being at war out of the matrix. Do you have a choice when you are out of the matrix? The answer is yes. But you might be surprised that the ability to have choice does not give you freedom and independence from the controllers of the matrix. In the movie The Matrix 2, we are introduced to the people who live in a city called Zion. The first movie did not describe Zion at all. It only dealt with several people from Zion that were aboard the vessel, the Nebuchadnezzar. Zion is a city deep in the core of the earth, away from the matrix. It is inhabited by people who have been physically removed from the matrix. The matrix warehouses the remaining 99% of the humans in a condition similar to a coma, in which the humans are fed nutrients and the illusion of a normal life by machines run by computers. The matrix harvests the bodily heat and chemical energy from the human bodies to power the machine world. When a physical body dies in the matrix, it is removed from the matrix by the machines and ground up. Oh, disgusting. And fed to the remaining inhabitants as a food source. The underground city of Zion appears to be a mirror of the matrix, whereas in the matrix, the machines appear to control the humans, therein living off their energy. In the city of Zion, the people control the machines, which serve them and keep them alive. The matrix appears to be on the surface of the earth where humans ordinarily live and survive. The city of Zion is deep in the earth, as though it were a burial ground for the dead. The people on the surface living in the matrix are, for all intents and purposes, dead or living in a dream or a coma. This is wild, man. But mentally have perceived themselves to be very much alive by their mental stimulation through the matrix computers. Wow. The people in Zion are buried deep in the earth, where ordinarily the corpses are buried, but they are mentally awake and very much physically at liberty from the physical and mental constraints of the matrix computers and warehouses. Wow. I never saw the second movie, so I'll have to see that. There are several interesting issues that are raised with the movie The Matrix 2. The first movie was mostly about Neo, personally. It was about waking him up from his naivety and the placing of him into a position in which he could be aware of and deal with larger issues than his own condition and future. Since the movie is only a parable to teach us, the first movie also was about waking us up to the reality of the world. Now in the second movie, we are ready for larger issues. This is what we are getting. There are three major conversations in the movie The Matrix 2, which serve to introduce us to the more important aspects of our relationship as people who have come out of the Matrix, to the issue of the Matrix still being there as a neighbor. What should be our relationship? Should we fight the Matrix? Should we destroy the Matrix? Should we be at peace with it? In the first movie, Neo was extracted from the Matrix. Who accomplished this extraction? Was it Neo himself? Was it Morpheus? Was it Trinity? No. Neo was offered a blue pill or a red pill. The blue pill represents admiralty. That's interesting. If Neo took the blue pill, he would be put back into a condition of delusion to conform to the public policies. Wow. And would have no interest in learning any of the private conditions of reality. Wow. If Neo took the red pill, it would be the blood of the Messiah, and Neo would be aware of the private things in the world. Wow, that's cool. As opposed to this world, and would become a servant to help others learn the truth. That's awesome. The red pill, Neo was told by the members of Zion, was a locator program. The purpose of Neo swallowing the red pill was to be a transponder or beacon so that his physical body could be located in the storehouse of the Matrix. It was a machine in the Matrix that was responsible for extracting Neo from the Matrix. It wasn't Neo, Morpheus, Trinity, or any other human who got Neo out of the Matrix. Since it was a machine who extracted him, why would the Matrix extract him if it wasn't a policy of the Matrix to let anyone out that wanted to be let out? The answer is simple. The Matrix only survives because adhesion to the Matrix is voluntary. Wow, that's good right there. You know, they're trying to get you to do the job with adhesion contracts, making it voluntary. That's the Matrix. Is it not possible to unvolunteer from the Matrix of this world by expatriating the physical membership? Will the governments of this world, the Matrix, not let one expatriate voluntarily if one does so in a proper manner? The answer is yes. Likewise, the red pill can be viewed as a form of expatriation request. That's awesome. It appears that Neo's separation from the Matrix in a physical fashion in the first movie was not a guarantee of the fact that Neo's future would not be influenced in some manner by the Matrix. And in fact, in the movie The Matrix 2, there is a significant interplay between the Matrix and Neo's lives, and also with those of his friends in Zion. The second movie deals with the issue of the interaction between Zion and the Matrix. Neo has discussion with the Oracle that enlightens us as to the reason why the people of Zion and the Matrix are linked together. The following conversation takes place between Neo and the Oracle. Interspersed in this conversation, I will add some comments in parentheses. Oracle, well, come on. I'm not going to bite you. Come around here and let me have a look at you. My goodness, look at you. You turned out all right, didn't you? How do you feel? You are not sleeping. We will get to that. Why don't you come and have a sit? Here's the parentheses. So an invitation to sit is a form of a commercial process called a draft. That's cool. The Oracle was the drawer of the draft. As such, the drawer is the debtor. The drawee, in this case, Neo, is the creditor. If the drawee does not fulfill the draft request, a dishonor occurs. Oh, and the drawee becomes the debtor. You do not want to be the debtor by dishonoring the draft. Neo, maybe I will stand a dishonor. Is that the oracle? Suit yourself. Acceptance of Neo's dishonor without going to war. Neo sits down voluntarily. So he sat down. Neo, I felt like sitting. Now Neo is an honor, so the conversation continues. Oracle, I know. So let's get the obvious stuff out of the way. Neo, you're not human, are you? Oracle, it's tough to get any more obvious than that. Neo, if I had to guess, I would say you are a program from the machine world. So is he, referring to the Oracle's bodyguard. Oracle, so far so good. Neo, but if that is true, it can mean that you are a part of the system, another kind of control. Oracle, keep going. Neo, I suppose the most obvious question is, how can I trust you? Oracle, bingo, it is a riddle. No doubt about it, the bad news is there is no way you can really know if I am here to help you or not. So it is really up to you. Just have to make up your own damn mind to either accept what I'm going to tell you or reject it. Here's him in parentheses. Isn't this the real issue with the people of Zion today in their relationship to the Matrix? The issue is, how can we trust the judge or the law enforcement officer or the lawyer or the prosecutor, etc., if they are in the public system? The Oracle reaches into her purse to get some candy. Candy? Neo, do you already know if I am going to take it? Oracle, I wouldn't be much of an oracle if I didn't. Neo, but if you already know, how can I make the choice? Oracle, because you didn't come here to make the choice. You already made it. You're here to try to understand why you made the choice. I thought you would have figured that out by now. Notice how the issue is going from what questions to why questions. Neo, why are you here? Oracle, same reason, I love candy. It's a joke. Neo, why help us? Oracle, we're all here to do what we are all here to do. I'm interested in one thing, Neo, the future. And believe me, I know the only way to get there is together. There is a parable in the New Testament. It talks about a field, which is this world, where an enemy came one night and sowed weeds in the wheat field. The wheat is the Zion people, and the weeds are the people of the Matrix. The servants asked the master whether the servant should pull out the weeds when they start growing. The master told the servants to allow the weeds and the wheat to grow together because the wheat would be destroyed by the pulling up of the weeds. This is what Neo is being told here. The people of the Matrix and the people of Zion must exist side by side for a period of time, lest the warfare between both cause both parties annihilation. Neo, are there other programs like you? Oracle, well, not like me, but look, see those birds? At some point, a program was written to govern them. The program was written to watch over the trees, the wind, sunrise, and sunset. I'm glad that they're talking geocentricity here and not heliocentricity. There are programs running all over the place. One's doing their job, doing what they're meant to do. They're invisible. You never even know they were here. But the other ones, well, you hear about them all the time. Neo, I've never heard of them. Oracle, of course you have. Every time you heard someone say, I've seen a ghost or an angel, every story you have ever heard about vampires, werewolves, or aliens is the system assimilating some program that is doing something that they are not supposed to be doing. Neo, programs, hacking programs, why? Again, a why question. Oracle, they have their reasons, but usually a program chooses exile when it faces deletion. Neo, why would a program be deleted? Oracle, maybe it breaks down. Maybe a better program is created to replace it. It happens all the time. And when it does, a program can either choose to hide here or return to the source. Neo, the machine mainframe. Yes. Where the path of the one ends, you have seen it in your dreams, haven't you? The door made of light. What happens when you go through the door? Neo, I see Trinity and something happens, something bad. She starts to fall and then I wake up. Oracle, do you see her die? Neo, no. Oracle, you have the sight now. You are looking at the world without time. Time is a commercial entity. When there is no commerce involved, time is irrelevant. In the Tom Hanks movie Castaway, when Tom Hanks was on the island, time was irrelevant. There were no commercial contracts or terms to implement in which time was a factor. Time in the Garden of Eden was also irrelevant. Neo, then why can't I see what happens? Oracle, we cannot see past the choices we do not understand because we have not yet thought it into existence. Neo, are you saying that I have to choose whether Trinity lives or dies? Oracle, no. You've already made the choice. Now you have to understand it. Neo, no, I can't do that. I won't. This is a war or a dishonor which leads to losing control over the situation. What does that mean? This is a war or a dishonor which leads to losing control over the situation. Oracle, you will have to. Neo, why? Oracle, because you are the one. You are the creditor and must face it. Neo, what if I can't? What happens if I fail? Oracle, then Zion will fall. Our time is up. Listen to me, Neo. You can say Zion if you reach the source, but to do that, you will need the key maker. Neo, the key maker? Oracle, yes. He disappeared some time ago. We do not know what happened to him. Now he is being held prisoner by a very dangerous program. One of the oldest of us. He is called the Merovingian. Merovingian. He will not let him go willingly. The character called the Merovingian is an important character in history. He is the original sovereign line of kings of Northwest Europe from about 500 to 850 AD. This line of kings saved the Pope in Italy, thus becoming his master before the Pope made or broke other would-be kings, and the Merovingian successors today are part of those who believe they are the keepers of the Holy Grail and the secret leaders of the world society. Oh. Do a search on this name on the internet, Merovingian. Neo, what does he want? Oracle, what do all men with power want? More power. Be there at that exact time and you will have a chance. Neo, I must go. Oracle, seems like every time we meet, I have nothing but bad news. I'm sorry about that. I surely am. But for what it's worth, you have made a believer out of me. Good luck, kiddo. This conversation was incredible. It is the first of 3 conversations that link the fact that the people of Zion, or those who would free themselves from the boundaries of the physical matrix are not at liberty to, number one, make war against the matrix and its leaders or people, or number two, operate independently from the leaders and the people of the matrix. In today's world, this is equivalent to saying, number one, do not fight the world government system to destroy it. And number two, do not make war against the courts. Oh, the judges, the prosecutors, the law enforcement, and the United Nations or the Federal Reserve. That system, the matrix, is linked to you and your survival. Interesting. The second conversation was even more interesting. It involved a discussion between Neo, Morpheus, Trinity, and the man called Merovingian. In the movie plot, in the attempt by Morpheus, Trinity, and Neo to bring down the matrix by destroying the mainframe computer terminal, the location of that mainframe and the ability to get to it was why it was important to learn the location of the key maker. He had the information they sought. Morpheus, we are here to speak to Merovingian, Maitre d'. Of course, he has been expecting you. Follow me. Merovingian. Aha! Here he is at last, Neo. It is the one himself and the legendary Morpheus and Trinity, of course. I've heard so much. You honor me. Please, this is my wife, Persephone. Oh my gosh. Something to eat, drink? Have you seen so many contrivances as we have here? Please, for the sake of appearances. Neo, no, thank you. Mervin, what's his name? Merovingian. Let's call him Mer. Yes, of course. Neo, we don't have time. Mer, yes, of course. Who has time? But then if we do not ever take time, how can we have time? Time is a commercial function of the matrix. If you take time, you are the creditor. If you do not take time, you've dishonored it and you are its debtor. Magnificent French wine. I love French wine. Of all the languages, French is my favorite language, especially to curse. It is like wiping your ass with soap. Oh, I love it. Oh. You know why we're here. I'm a trafficker in information. I know everything I can. The question is, do you know why you are here? Morpheus, we are looking for the key maker. Mirror, oh yes, this is true, the key maker, of course. But this is not a reason. This is not a why. The key maker himself is an answer by his very nature to a means and not an end. And so to be looking for him is to be looking for a means to do what? Neo, you know the answer to that question. Mir, but do you? You think you do, but you do not. You are here because you were sent here. You were told to come here, and then you obeyed. It is, of course, the way of all things. You see, there is only one constant, one universal. It is the only reality, causality, action, reaction, cause and effect. Morpheus, everything begins with choice. Mir, no, wrong. Choice is an illusion created between those with power and those without. Look here, look at the woman, referring to a woman at another table in the restaurant. My God, just look at her, affecting everyone around her. So obvious, so bourgeois, so quiet. But you see, I have sent her a dessert, a very special dessert. I wrote it, the program for the dessert, since we are in the digital matrix myself. It starts so simply. The woman takes a bite out of the dessert, reflecting on its flavor. Each line of the program paints a new fate, just like poetry, fast, a rush, heat, a heart flutters. You can see it now, yes? She does not understand why. Is it the wine? No. What is it? What is the reason? Soon it does not matter. Soon the wine and the reason are gone. And all that matters is the feeling itself. This is the nature of the universe. The dessert program contained a substance that would over time cause her to leave the table and go to the women's room with the physical uneasiness to resolve. We struggle against it. We fight to keep from dying. Of course, we pretend to be alive. Beneath the poised appearance, the truth is really our complete case, out of control. Causality. There is no escape from it. We are forever slaves to it. Our only hope, our only peace is to understand it. That is the why, to understand the why. Why is what separates us from them, you from me. Why is the only real source of power. Without it, you are powerless. And this is how you come to me. Without the why, without any power. Another link in the chain, but fear not. Since I have seen how good you are at following orders, I will tell you what to do next. Run back and give the fortune teller this message. Her time is over. Whoa. Now I have some real business to attend to. The Merovingian desires to follow the pretty lady to the women's restroom. Adieu and goodbye. Oh. Neo, this isn't over. Non-acceptance of a draft order is dishonor. Interesting. Wow. That's good to know. Mayor, oh yes it is. The key maker is mine, and I see no reason why I should give him up. No reason at all. There was no cross-commercial consideration to the Merovingian from Neo to make a commercial agreement attractive to Merovingian. Persephone, where are you going? Please, my wife, I have told you. We're all victims of causality. I drink too much wine. I must take a piss. Cause and effect. Merovingian leaves. His bodyguards move to escort Trinity out. Trinity, touch me, and that hand will never touch anything again. Trinity, Morpheus, Neo leave. They get on an elevator to go to the bottom floor of the building. Neo, well, that didn't go so well. Morpheus, are you sure the oracle didn't say anything else? Neo, yes. Trinity, are you sure we didn't do something wrong? Neo, or didn't do something? Morpheus, no. What happened? Happened. And couldn't have happened in any other way. Neo, how do you know? Morpheus, we are still alive. Morpheus understands honor and acceptance. The elevator door opens on another floor as the trio is going down to reveal Persephone. She intercedes and promises to deliver what they want. Twice now, Neo has been told by entities in the Matrix that the answer to the question why is the only important issue that he needs to deal with. The oracle told him that the what has already been decided in his life. The oracle told him if he does not understand the why, he will not be able to see beyond the what issue that he does not know the why about. Now, Merovingian also tells them that without knowing why events occur, there is no hope to be in control. But being in control means that commercially, you are a creditor. So not knowing why makes one a debtor in commercial affairs. As a debtor, one cannot be in control and cannot win if that is what one is hoping to achieve in terms of a commercial or military democracy victory. Neo, Morpheus, and Trinity wrongly thought the issue was choice. Doesn't Babylon tell us that we should be fighting for women's choice of rights? The Merovingian rightly told Neo that choice is an act of a debtor. Oh, that's good right there. In reacting to the possible consequences of being the debtor, it's an illusion. A person with a mortgage on his house has a choice. He can either pay his monthly mortgage payment to the bank, or he can choose not to pay the monthly mortgage payment. He will also be subject to the duties or obligations that choice he makes saddles him with. The issue is never in achieving the ability to make a choice in life. The issue is being in control of one's options as a creditor of the commercial agreements, so that one's duties are established by one's own desire to voluntarily serve your fellow man instead of being a slave to your fellow man. Neo finally gets the information from the keymaker so that he can reach the mainframe computer to shut it down and save this world. When he arrives at the room outside the mainframe shutoff switch, he meets another character in the Matrix called the Architect. The third quotation from the second movie follows between the Architect and Neo. It is the most revealing of all the discussions. I'm actually going to stop right here on page 38, the very bottom, and we'll go over this discussion. We will go over this discussion on the next reading. My throat is getting dry and I need to stop.